Okay, so we're going to take a look at Pop and Bounce for the Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator. Pop and Bounce. This game released in 1997 by the fine folks over at SNK. And the more I research some of these SNK games, the more impressed I am with them, because they were a force to be reckoned with. I mean, you have your Williams games, you know, and you have your Namco games, and you have your Capcom games from the 80s, right? I mean, these companies led the way in the arcade industry in the 80s. But then you look at a company like SNK, which was, if we want to call it the Roaring 90s, I guess we can do that. But this company was a force to be reckoned with in the 90s. They released hit after hit, several different. They had their own line of sports games, just like Capcom did. They had a bunch of, you know, as far as I could tell, they had several different action and adventure games. And then they make a puzzle game like this, and it's like, you know, you don't really know what to think until you actually play the game. It's like, well, gee, what are they doing making a puzzle game? That's what this is. This is classified as a puzzle game. Now, I also want to let you know here that if you're at all familiar, I'm sure you recognize it right away. If you've ever played the game Breakout, you'll know that there have been several variants on the game Breakout, you know. And so right away I was skeptical, to be honest with you. But the more I play through it, the more I look at it, I like the different, I love the artwork behind it. You got animals for, you know, different animal for every level pretty much. We got cats in the next level. It actually can be enjoyable. It actually is a fun game to play. And, you know, I don't think I've ever reviewed a Breakout type of game in my life. I actually should. That'd be a good game for me to review, is the original Breakout for, I want to say that was on the Atari 2600. So we're really going back here. And this is in 1997. So already there have been several variants of, at this time there had already been several variants of Breakout released by these different publishers. You know, impressive. Again, it looks, graphically it looks amazing. I must say I also like the soundtrack behind it. I like the music that's here. And, you know, this is, like I've said, this is not, you know, when I sit down to play games at night or to do reviews, this is not the first game that comes to mind. You know, I don't want to play Breakout with a bunch of, you know, with a bunch of animals. This is not what comes to mind at first. But, again, the more you actually play through it, the more you kind of appreciate the artwork behind it. It's just like with some of their other games as well. You know, these are not games that I would be at first inclined to play. But, again, when you actually play through them, and they can actually be enjoyable. So, this is kind of a neat game. It's kind of whimsical, kind of a cartoony type of puzzle game, cartoony type of Breakout. So the animations make this enjoyable for sure. The artwork makes it enjoyable, and again, it's got a pretty decent soundtrack. Controls are not that difficult. They're not that sensitive. They're not overly sensitive, like I've seen in some variants of Breakout, to be sure. Overall, I think it can be an enjoyable game. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. I actually like to see it ported on a couple of different mobile platforms like iPhone and Android. I think that would be pretty cool. So, 3.5 out of 5 for Pop and Bounce. That'll be all for now, guys. Stay tuned. More video game reviews coming soon. So long.